Hey guys, Chad here. Just want to let you guys know that the audio for this episode is going to be a little wonky. My microphone in particular sounds kind of hollow at times. So just wanted to get that in the open before you start the episode. And if you just bear with us, we'll get it fixed for next week's episode. Thanks. Is the Antikythera mechanism a doomsday device? If so, what kind of doomsday device and how many people could it potentially kill when activated? Was it given to humanity by aliens? Stick around and you might just find out the answers to these questions on this episode of Unsolved Mysteries Solved. Welcome back, guys. It is once again Thursday, as I like to say, the most mysterious day of the week. Rejoining me today is a good friend of mine, investigative journalist, Mr. RJ Ensz.
Hi, Chad. Thanks for having me back. I know you said that I was a fan favorite, and, just thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
I don't remember saying that. I don't remember anyone saying that.
No, you don't?
That, but
You don't remember that? You don't?
I don't.
I thought you said something. You didn't get any DMs or nothing?
I mean,
Nothing?
not yet. I mean, sorry, bro.
Okay.
You're more convenient than anything.
Well, not for my ex-wife.
So anyway, this episode, RJ has graciously offered to present the topic. Not really sure what we're going to be talking about, but if you've never heard the podcast before, the way it works, we're going to talk about a mysterious happening or event, an unsolved mystery. Good God, I'm all over the place right now. We're going to talk about an unsolved mystery, and at the end we'll solve it, because I have a PhD in solving unsolved mysteries, and Mr. RJ over here is an investigative journalist. So failing having the PhD that I have, I felt like that was probably the next best thing. So with that, I guess I'll just let him take it away.
Thanks a lot, Chad. Man, boy, today do we have a cool topic.
It just sounds so, it almost sounds forced. Boy, guys, let me tell you, we got a banger today.
We do. We have a real banger of a topic. We're going to be talking about the Antikythera mechanism. What is the Antikythera mechanism? Well, my studious little mystery solvers, the Antikythera mechanism is generally considered to be the first computer. It's analog, obviously. There's nothing digital about it, but it's a box of gears that was found at a shipwreck at the island Antikythera off of the coast of Greece, and this was found in the shipwreck. I believe was found in 1901, with the mechanism being discovered and identified in, I think, 1902. So it was found a while ago, but that kind of leads to its credibility because nobody was hoaxing things like this back then. And it has been dated to have originated around 150 BCE,
Holy moly.
Which is crazy. Now,
I was like, I know a little bit about it, honestly. But I don't know a whole lot. But I honestly was thinking it was like more, on the CE side.
Yeah, nope, it's pretty ancient. So this device was discovered by a group of sponge divers that got caught in a storm, and so they took refuge on the island of Antikythera. And then after a few days, the storm went away, and they decided to do some diving to see if they could find any, I guess, sponges. I assume that's what sponge divers dive for.
We were looking for a specific one, I believe, named Bob.
Yeah, Mr. Sponge Robert. And they found what is recorded as the largest repository of Greek artifacts ever discovered in a single shipwreck. It was from a Roman shipwreck, though. So these were being transported, but they were Grecian bronze statues, wine, oil, pottery. But among all of them was this single box that contained dials and gears on it.
I think I can speak for the listeners when I say the most important thing that they want to know is, was the wine drinkable?
I'm guessing the wine was long gone. It was under the water. I'm I'm just guessing that over the 1,000 years, nearly 2,000 years since the shipwreck, probably gone. If the wine was still intact, it would have been a great vinegar.
That's probably true.
That's what would have happened. Yeah, so this thing contained at least 30 bronze gears. Now, I don't know if you know anything about clockwork, because I sure don't. But clockwork mechanisms need to be incredibly precise because they all have to interconnect. And the gears on this thing, man, they were done to a precision that wouldn't be seen until the 14th century, like 1,400 years later from when this was made. There's no other evidence of any other clockwork being this precise. But that's not all. The complexity of this machine would not be replicated until the 18th century, when the astronomical clocks started being used.
Right.
And this is the only piece of this technology that has ever been found. So I've put some pictures in for you to look at. If you want to look at that second picture.
Yeah.
What you're seeing here is this was all originally one piece, but after they took it out of the water, it broke apart. It's
right.
very, very fragile bronze, and this is it. This is what we have.
This is all that's left?
This is all that's left.
Okay, and so I'm looking at what appears to be a cog in the middle.
Yeah, so that's the large cog.
It almost looks like, for the listeners, it's, like on submarines, the wheel that you'd turn to seal a door. It kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
And then there's two smaller pieces to either side. I can't really tell what they are necessarily, but they've all got that greenish tint.
Right, yeah. So they're all very oxidized, I guess. Now, so those other two pieces, they contain the dials. And the dials were separated into sections, with each section corresponding to a single tooth on the gears.
So each dial was one tooth?
No. Each dial was separated into sections, with each section representing one tooth. So that when you adjusted the big dial by one, the big gear by one, it would move the indicator over to another section of the dial. So if you look at the top image that I sent you, this is an artist's recreation of what this mechanism looked like.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It almost looks like a vault door.
It kind of does, but it's important to know this is about the size of like a mantle clock. Like you'd hold this in your hands.
Oh, okay.
Fairly small.
The recreation here for the listeners, it's been, if you've ever seen like a computer recreation where they expand it and show all the parts, it looks like that. Like it's been kind of torn apart.
There are a lot of gears. So what the front dial, which is really the part we have, what it had, these pointers that would point across the dial, and each one had one of the 5 visible planets and the moon.
Okay.
And by turning the crank on the side, it would move through the calendar and basically point to, it would predict where the planets would be on what specific date.
Okay, yeah, okay, I can see that now. Like, so the picture, again, for the listeners, it looks like a slab. It almost looks like a vault door. But after hearing that explanation, there is a crank on the side, and on the front, there does seem to be a depiction, like a small depiction of like the universe, not the universe.
The solar system.
With like, there are like little rods coming out of it, and each one has a little ball on it. I'm assuming each one is representing, different planet.
Yeah, and also the sun. But that wasn't the only thing this thing did, though. Like, that's what's so crazy, is it did a number of things. So it also walked the sun through the signs of the zodiac. That was another thing that was listed as one of the things it would do, so you knew what season it was. Okay. The orb for the moon was black and white. It was like a black and white marble that rotated to tell you which phase of the moon it currently was.
Holy shit, that's intricate.
A man named Paul Iverson, a classicist at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, He said that the calendar includes month names used in Corinth and its colonies in northwest Greece, and that the dial displayed the timing of major athletic festivals as well, including the Olympics, Lisna, a festival held in northwest Greece, and Haleia, which was held in the south of the island of Rhodes, to give us a little bit more of like a kind of, we can kind of guess probably where this was made because it included those 3 athletic festivals on its map of what it was telling you when would happen.
That's insane. This is like from what you're saying and the way I'm looking at it, like people say that the Mayan calendar was really like ahead of its time and intricate and shit. This puts that to shame.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and the thing is so the the mystery in this case isn't what this was used for. It's where the hell did this come from? Because this technology is so far advanced from the I mean, they had gears in Greece. They had figured that out. But this is a whole other level. I mean, this is going from a pocket calculator to an iPhone.
Now, I do have to ask one question. Is this back in still during the times before they realized that the solar system is heliocentric?
No, this is going to be on the Earth-centric model. So again, on that top diagram, you can picture that middle big knob is Earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the one that's coming out of that would be the moon.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's dumb. I don't know why I asked that. I'm stupid. I asked the question I knew the answer to. Was this before they knew that the solar system was heliocentric? Well, that happened in like the 1200s. And, this was
right.
BCE. So, yeah, this was when they thought that it was Earth-centric. Dumbass. Like I thought about it and I was like, what the am I talking about?
No, but it let me point out something I'd overlooked, which is that yes, Earth is the center of this diagram.
Right. It doesn't have a ball, it's the center knob.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I really wish we had a Patreon or something because I want to show this to people, but there's no way to right now. So
I mean, yeah, if only you could set up like a WordPress or something. Damn.
Yeah, that's way too much work.
So, some theories around this. There's I believe he's Swedish or Swiss.
The Swedes.
Von. That's a Swiss thing. Eric von Däniken.
Of Däniken, yes.
Yes. He studied this and says it could have only come from a spaceship. This man is still alive. You can look up Eric von Däniken. He is a author. He has been on such notable shows as Ancient Aliens, In Search of Ancient Astronauts, and Ancient Aliens Declassified.
Is he the aliens guy?
No, he's not. No, he is not. But
this isn't even my final form guy.
But he is convinced that this was made by aliens.
That makes absolutely no sense, though, because aliens coming in from, into our solar system would realize that this is a heliocentric solar system. Or rather, let me rephrase that all solar systems are heliocentric. That's why they're called solar systems.
Well, take that up with Eric von Däniken.
I'm going to write a very angry letter. I will write a very angry tweet from this podcast's Twitter.
So since this is like a one-of-a-kind object, and for a long time, I mean, it just sat around in museums because nobody knew what to make of it. They could see the gear markings on it.
Right.
But it wasn't until 1971, that it was X-rayed, which gave us this bottom picture you can see that I've sent you.
I thought that looked like an X-ray.
Yeah, and so this gave a much clearer picture, and this is kind of when the first people started going crazy about it. Like, holy shit, this is way more complicated, because before they had no idea what it was, and it revealed all these smaller gears inside because they couldn't see into it. I mean, this whole thing is just a massive green crud. And so then it became kind of a niche field of study for like archaeologists and stuff. And then it wasn't until fairly recently, 2006, where the mechanism captured the broader attention of the academic community. Mike Edmonds of Cardiff University in Wales and his team published CT scans of the fragments, which I tried to find a picture of this earlier. It looks really cool when you see it in motion. You can find it on YouTube and stuff. So what this did is gave us basically a 3D X-ray of it. And it let them really see what each of these gears could do. And this was when all this stuff started to explode about just how much this thing could do. It revealed a lot of the inscriptions and what they meant.
Now, I may be getting a little bit ahead of you here. The last picture that you have shown me, is that someone's attempt to recreate it, or is this...
That one, I believe, yes, that's someone's attempt to recreate it. But I just wanted to show you, like, how many gears there are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of gears required.
I mean,
that require, fine engineering to create.
There's probably 20 or 30 gears here.
Yeah, so we know that it had at least 30 gears, but very likely more. Yeah, so they found these hidden inscriptions that gave us more knowledge about what, finding some of the Greek words and things, because the inscriptions are still there. They're just under all this caked on crud from being underwater for 1,000 years.
Right.
It took an 8-ton machine to be flown to Athens in order to do this 3D X-ray, because the device is so fragile that they would rather fly an 8-ton machine to Athens from like London than try to move this.
Right. You don't want to be the guy that tries to move something that fragile and then it just crumbles apart in your hands and like, oops.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like that guy would be a pariah for, generations to come in the scientific community.
Right.
Like, he's long dead and gone. It's you're 30, 32 or something. And like, yeah, you remember Frank tried to move the I can't remember how to pronounce it.
Antikythera.
The Antikythera mechanism? Yeah, that guy.
So, the kind of the last thing I want to touch on is kind of its authenticity, because it's, like with everything, people bring up, oh, was it a hoax, or maybe some diver dropped it in the same area as this, and it's really not from when it was. Well, the construction of this thing is very, very precise. So it has the large gear is the large dial is divided into 235 sections, which means the large gear that corresponds with it has 235 points to it.
Jesus.
So the reason that 235 is significant is because it equals out to the least common denominator of moon cycles to years, because as we all know, the calendar year is not a perfect moon cycle.
Right.
So 235 divisions equals out to 19 calendar years and exactly 235 moon cycles. So there's that, but the reason this is also significant is because the theories of astronomy and mathematics used to create it were what was developed by Greek astronomers during the 2nd century BC, when this was expected to have been created. So all of this is consistent, because anything made more modern wouldn't have a geocentric model of the solar system in mind. It wouldn't be using these common recurring numbers used in Greek astronomy. And this isn't the only example. That's just the easiest one to explain, because the other examples of the Greek number stuff gets really mathematical and really nerdy. But yeah, I mean, this is just a piece of immensely impressive technology. I mean, even by like 18th century standards, like this would have been an incredible work of technology. And this was made in between 200 and 100 BCE.
I mean, this honestly, like, even I believe in the last episode that you were guest host on, we talked about Leonardo da Vinci, not DiCaprio.
Oh yeah.
And like how he was a brilliant genius, but this, like, I've seen a lot of the sketches for things that he's made, and this kind of puts that to shame. Like,
well, and the other thing is that it was made. This wasn't like a diagram that someone was like, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if like this worked? Like this existed. And the Greeks were known to have been a very powerful sea force. They traveled the seas very well, and so they would invest a lot in something to be able to keep track of the calendar based on the position of the planets.
Now, this may be something that you are getting to. Why would it have been on a ship? Like, if it shows the moon cycles and stuff, but it also has, like, the games, the times of the games, why would this have been on a ship? Like, was it being transported, or was it just
remember, I you might have forgotten, but this was on a Roman ship that was transporting artifacts, like Grecian artifacts. Okay. Yes. So it, whether it was being used on the ship or just transported as part of cargo, I don't know.
Okay, I must have missed the transporting, because I was like, it's what I was comparing it to in my mind was like, I don't know, something like you're at work and the big game's about to start. And you're like, shit, I gotta get home by 6:00 because the Chiefs are playing the Tigers or whatever. And like that's why they had these, because they're like, shit, guys, we got 2 years to be home because goddamn the Olympics.
Right, but what was so amazing about this, if you could figure out, based on the planetary positions and the moon cycle, where that all lined up, it would tell you when the next Olympic Games were. It would tell you these other festivals. So you could, if you were out at sea on a multi-month voyage, you could always figure it out. It's really an astounding piece of technology.
Yeah, this is really cool. Like, I know, we haven't done a whole lot of comedy in this episode, but honestly, I don't give a because this is cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a very funny topic. It's so fascinating.
This is the first episode that is not going to be that comical, but god damn it if you're not going to learn something, listeners.
I believe the device, you can go see it in a museum in Athens. It's there. It's hanging out.
Yeah, my friend Lil that I was telling you about, she's an archaeologist. She was before she was like, "What's next week's topic going to be?" And I was like, "Well, we're doing." God, why do I keep forgetting how to pronounce this?
The Antikythera.
Antikythera. I told her we were doing these, and she was like, "Oh, I saw that when I was, in Athens." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Very cool. So yeah, I mean, that's what we got. That's what it is. Do you have any thoughts on it? Like anything where you think it came from?
Man, I'm baffled. Like, I mean, I've said I was baffled on episodes before, but this one is just okay. So we know it's Greek in origin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the writing on it is in Greek. I don't know if I mentioned that there's extensive Greek writing on it.
And we know that it was on a Roman ship that was transporting Greek antiquities.
Yeah, because at the 150 BCE, Rome had taken over the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah,
Rome had taken over everything. Yep. Shit, man. I don't know. It's definitely not alien in origin because, like I said, that's an alien coming into our If you've achieved space travel, you understand that every solar system, because it's called a solar system, is heliocentric. So they would not have created this device that is clearly, based on a geocentric model. Except I know people would be like, if they weren't trying to influence our culture too much. Well, if they weren't trying to influence
they wouldn't have given him a damn computer.
They wouldn't have given it to him in the first place. So it's clearly not alien in origin.
Yeah.
I don't know, mole people? I have no idea, dude. Like, this is literally the first time I've ever been baffled by it. I can't even think of where it might have come from.
There is, by the way, a gentleman who seems like a really eccentric guy. He makes a bunch of instruments and he makes watches and he's just a tinkerer and a maker. Mm-hmm. And he has recreated it. I mean, he made it by scratch. He made all the gears using bronze and chisels and files, and it works. I mean, we do know that this works. This isn't theoretical. Now, he had to create a lot of pieces because a lot of pieces are missing, but he ended up figuring out where everything connected and that it's
Like there was enough left that he could figure it out.
Yeah, he could reverse engineer it. Once he learned its purpose, he was able to reverse engineer it exactly and just see how exact everything was. I mean, he said in the initial recreation, he changed one of the gears from, I think it was like 253 to 254 things because he thought it made more sense, and I guess it just f***ed everything up.
Oh wow.
And that he had to remake that gear with one less point.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see him use it and turn the crank on the side and watch all the planets move, and it's crazy.
So, but we clearly know what it was used for.
Yeah. What it used for, we don't have any questions about. Why there was only one? Why?
Yeah, that's
why we have not found writings of these. I mean, clearly, this must have been either the only one or one of a very few,
right.
Because we don't know. We've never seen this in writing. No ancient Greek texts are describing this device. About sailing or star mapping or anything.
Okay, I've got a theory. It's bullshit, but I've got a theory.
Let's hear it. Let's solve this unsolved mystery.
Let's solve this. Like, this one might actually be unsolvable. Let's solve this unsolvable mystery. So, since last time you were out here, Leonardo da Vinci is on my brain.
As is DiCaprio.
As DiCaprio. I'm going to go ahead and say Leonardo da Vinci has lived multiple lives. He's been reincarnated. I know you've seen Death Parade.
I have, yes.
So he's been reincarnated multiple times. He's always being reincarnated because, what arbiter... Okay, for the listeners at home, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to explain the anime. It's an anime. Go watch it. It's really good. No arbiter is going to send Leonardo da Vinci.
We just lost our entire chat audience.
Yeah. No arbiter is going to send Leonardo da Vinci, someone that brilliant, to the void. If they did, them. So, I think Leonardo da Vinci has been reincarnated multiple times, and this was one of his first works.
Do you think in his modern day life he created anime?
No, I don't. Remember, he's a brilliant genius.
Yeah, that's the only notable invention of the last 100 years. Anyways, we can cut that out. That was just me making a joke, a bad joke.
No. I'm leaving that in. I want everybody to know how bad of a joke you just made.
It was terrible. It was awful.
Honestly, if he's been reincarnated in the current age... he's
Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah, so, because this one is... just so unsolvable to me. That's what I'm going with. Leonardo da Vinci has lived multiple lives. He created this. He died before he could create... Let's try that again. He died before he could create another one or replicate it, And that's where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I think, I don't necessarily go into the reincarnation aspect, but...
I'm just imagining... Yeah, I think you're full of bullshit.
I do think a genius built it. Just a once in a century kind of guy.
Yeah, that Leonardo da Vinci type person.
Yeah, exactly. Made one, and either something tragic happened to him, and it was no one else could reproduce this.
He was probably accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. Wait, no. That would have been the 1500s. Never mind.
Yeah, but it's really baffling. It's so easy to be whatever dude von Hammerstein said, Eric von Däniken, and say, oh, aliens made it and brought it to us. But you've already pointed out why that doesn't make any sense.
He is what did you say, dude von Hammerstein? That is his name from now on.
Dude von Hammerstein, and. That's such a cop out because this is such an interesting piece of history that there is no logical explanation for how something was made 1800 years too early, almost 2,000 years early.
It's not just a cop out. It's it's dumb to assume that this would be from space. Because, as I've said 1,000 times, I'm not going to say it again. It's just dumb to assume that aliens, like the pyramids, I'll give you, maybe aliens helped with that. I don't know. But there's no way.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was probably not Da Vinci. That was just me bullshitting. It's probably just some random genius who either was accused of some sort of witchcraft or something and killed because, people who are on the forefront of science are always, maybe not necessarily today because we understand science a little bit better, but throughout history, people who are on the forefront of science are constantly accused of either witchcraft or, devil worshipping or, the like. And,
right.
They become pariahs. I mean, Galileo was labeled a heretic because he was like, you know what? Maybe the Earth goes around the sun. So I think you're right about that. I think it was just some random brilliant person who either died before he could create another one or was killed before he could create another one. We'll never know. Honestly, this one baffles the out of me. I'm going on record as this is probably granted this is only episode, whatever.
Right.
Not too far in. But going on record that we have found the first unsolvable mystery.
Unsolved mysteries. Unsolved!
Solved mysteries. Unsolved. Wait, what? Yeah, we're taking mysteries that have already been solved. We're unsolving them.
Ooh. Spin-off podcast idea.
We're just deconstructing all these solutions. You think you know why the Roman Empire declined? Nope, we are unsolving that shit.
I mean, it wasn't really one reason. It was kind of a systemic issue created over hundreds of years. Anyways.
We actually talked about that in a previous podcast. What was it?
I still don't listen to your podcast, so.
Yes, I know. It was, I want to say it was the Lost Roman Legion episode.
That would make sense to talk about it then.
Right. All right, well, so for the first time, I think I'm stumped. I'm not really sure where this thing came from. If you have your own ideas about where it came from, you are more than welcome to email us at Mysteries Solved Podcast, all one word, at gmail.com. Or if you have an unsolved mystery you want us to solve, or at least attempt to solve, because goddamn, I thought I was an expert, couldn't solve this one. Or if you want to send us, tell us how good we're doing, tell us that we're terrible, send us death threats. But yeah, you can do all that with an email. Or you can find us on Facebook at Unsolved Mysteries Solved, or on Twitter at Solved Podcast. And again, if you really want to support the podcast, the best way to do that right now is just to, rate and review the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or Podchaser. I don't know. RJ, you got anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Just thanks for having me on again. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. And like I said last time, be sure to have you on again if, for some reason, Colt still needs time. I told him to take as much time as he needs. So, it could be months before he gets back. So, anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week with a brand new mystery.
Bye-bye now.